to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
Good. So tell me about yourself.
So I'm Madison Anderson. I'm currently a senior at UVU studying communications and event planning, and I'm just looking for opportunities to move across the country and work on my leadership skills.
Awesome. Can you think of an example when one of your customers was not pleased with something you or your team did? What was the situation and how did you recover?
Yeah, so currently I work in retail, which is pretty much in the job description that you'll deal with unhappy customers. So I think just putting myself in their shoes, trying to understand where they're coming from and trying to find a solution that not only benefits the company, but also the customers is a big part of dealing with difficult customers.
Definitely. What was the most useful criticism you ever received from an immediate supervisor? How did you embrace this feedback and achieve a positive outcome?
Yeah, so I was a leader of my newspaper down at Dixie State University, and while I was there, one of the big criticisms I got was over text. I wasn't being completely clear of what I needed to be done or how I needed it to be done. So I think realizing that that is something that is totally fixable and it's not like I'm not a bad person because of that, but just realizing I can fix this and I can do better because of it. And we had a great season with our newspapers that year, so that was really good.
Awesome. What do you feel you have to offer above the average employee when it comes to accomplishing your daily responsibilities and goals? And can you share a specific example?
Yeah, so organization is probably where I strive the most, and like making sure it's not only organized, like for me, because sometimes when things are organized, only one person or one group can understand how it's organized. So I think making sure that the entire group of people or the entire team understands how it's being organized, what needs to happen from this organization and stuff like that. And I think I've implemented this in the company I currently work at, and it's taking input from other people and seeing what works best for them, not just for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Tell me about a time when you didn't agree with a corporate strategy or initiative. What was the strategy? Why didn't you agree with it? And what did you do?
Yeah, so I used to work in Maui and our headquarters was in Utah, so there was quite a disconnect between us. And we have a lot of decisions like how the store would be laid out, and sometimes we didn't agree with those decisions that corporate was making. And since there was such a disconnect from Maui to Utah, it was kind of hard to like express how we felt. So I think what we did was we set up a time where we had an open conversation where we laid everything out on the table and discussed what we can do better and where we need to put more of our resources into.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about a time when you identified a new, unusual, or different approach for addressing a problem or task. How did you come to this solution and what was the outcome?
Yeah, so going back to the last question, we had never done this before at the company I worked for, like sitting down and having an open conversation. And I think this was really beneficial for not only the retail workers, but actually the executives, because they now understood that we see a lot of the action since we're down on the floor and we have a lot of good input, and we can see from up there that they have input that we didn't realize either. So having everyone come together and put their ideas together to come up with an even better one was super interesting and super beneficial for us all.
Definitely. What types of sales reports have you received and what is your process for analyzing them? Which reports do you find have the most value and why?
Yeah, so every week I receive our net sales goals, our AOV, which is average order value, and our AOV goals, UPT and UPT goals. And so I look at that as, did we make goal? Yes or no? Why did we make goal? What pushed us forward? What made us better this week than weeks prior? Or if we didn't make goal, why didn't we make goal? What held us back and what can we do in the future to improve? So I think just looking at not only like the numbers, but looking at why those numbers are there.
Yeah, that's great. Can you describe for me a corporate strategy or resource which you maximized to have a positive impact on your territory's business?
Yeah. Having open conversations, like I've mentioned quite a bit, but utilizing that and understanding that that is there to benefit everyone. So not just being like, oh, that's cool, and kind of leaving it to the side, but actually utilizing it and taking advantage of those opportunities to discuss what you think could better the company.
Yeah. Cool. Share a time when you were able to directly attribute your probing skills to solve a problem with a difficult customer.
I think this one, you just have to ask questions and be like, try and get the full story, because sometimes things can get mixed up, especially if they're dealing with like different parties. So just getting the full story and asking as many questions as you can so that you can see where they're coming from and how you can best help them.
I like that. Can you recall a time when you were less than pleased with your performance, and what did you do about it?
Yeah. So everyone has their off days, and some days we come home from work and we're just like, you know what, today wasn't my best day. But I think one thing I've benefited from is owning up to those bad days and seeing that I didn't do my best today, but taking a step back and realizing, well, tomorrow, even though I didn't make my goals today, I can still do that tomorrow, and making sure my team knows, like, today I wasn't on my best. Having that conversation with them and saying, yes, I know I wasn't on my best, but tomorrow I will be, and we'll do better tomorrow.
Definitely. Describe your level of competitiveness. Tell me about a specific situation where your competitiveness helped you achieve better results than your peers.
Yeah, so I'm very competitive and I love being competitive. And I think one thing my competitiveness helps me to be is to bring my peers up with me. Because you can't just, if you're the best, you're not competing with anyone. So bringing them up with you so that you're on the same level, so you have someone to compete with, so that it's not just one person competing against themselves. And I think that's benefited a lot.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, so is this position more of a team position, or is it more of an independent?
It's more of a team effort, but there will be opportunities for independent work as well.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Of
It's
course.
great to meet you.
You too, thanks for coming in.